fill for a minute and then we'll do the thing. What thing? I have no idea. But whatever it is, we're going to do it.
Yes. Do the thing.
Yeah.
Jolie.
Jolie, do the thing.
What?
It's from Korra,
yeah.
the follow-up to The Last Airbender,
Oh.
because he's no longer the last, but there's still not a lot.
I still never could get through all of Korra, and I don't know why. I think it's because every time I tried to watch Korra, I had just finished watching the entirety of The Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I made it through season 1 of Korra the first time I tried. And I definitely didn't make it through season 2 the second time I tried.
I mean, that's a lot of Avatar. And I'm not going to go into which is better, because I think a lot of that can be more subjective.
Avatar is better.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know. I was just trying to be generous.
Sorry, for our international people, The Legend of Aang is better. Aang? Did I just say that? Jesus.
You did it. Go to your room.
I need to. Sorry. Just like a couple weeks ago, I watched something about the original live action Disaster, and then I hadn't said it out loud since then.
So it was just festering there, waiting to Aang.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the worst.
No, that movie is the worst. I almost said M. Night Shyamalan, but he's done some quality work. And hey, sometimes I think he gets some flack, but he has done some really good work, and not everything is going to be perfect. So he's still way more creative than I could be.
I mean, the problem
but that's
is
not a good movie.
That all of his good stuff was early, and then he started like getting high on his own supply, and most of the stuff he's done since then has been ass.
Like George Lucas.
I mean, he was always better as a producer, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's gonna get us some flack. All right. Oh, let me.
I can take it.
Still take the prequels over the sequels.
Yeah, you guys can take it because you don't pay any attention to any of the feedback. I have to pay attention to it all.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I was totally clear that yes, I can. Whether or not we're making more work for Chewie is a completely separate question, right, Dirk?
Absolutely.
Sequels over prequels.
Where is
I
the
hate
other
you,
end
Brian.
of my freaking?
I love you.
There we go.
We will never see completely eye to eye on that, and you know what? That's okay.
Hello?
Hello.
No. Okay.
Hello there.
Did I plug the wrong? Oh, I plugged the wrong end in. It's all right. I'm an idiot.
Plug the wrong end in.
Yeah, this headset splits
sounds like a
into
personal problem.
a green and a red, and the green is the headset and the red is the microphone. But since I'm just plugging it into my speakers, one of them doesn't do anything. But all right. That is 4 minutes of crap I'm going to have to cut out. That's going to stay in the YouTube version. So hello, people watching on YouTube. Sorry about that. So here we go. Ow, jam. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Manapool. This is me getting caught on the headphone cable and the controller cable at the same time. What in? Oh my god!
For the price of one.
How did you manage
What
to
is
do
this
that?
other cable? There's another cord here that's wrapped around my foot, and I don't know what it is. It's the other end of the controller. Oh my god!
If it gets tighter, you need to try to get away because it's trying to eat you.
You know what? I'm not starting over. I'm leaving that in. Hello. This is episode 706 of the Manapool. I'm Chewie, the lead dork. I got most of the other dorks here. Hello.
Hey, I'm Brian. I'm the lead Rambler Tangent Master of the group. I'm 1/4 of this group, which I guess means that, yes, we do have a quorum? I think we have a quorum. It's a fun word.
Quorum would be 4, wouldn't it?
That would be everybody.
But we don't have everybody. We have a triumphant.
But you triumphant? You mean triumvirate? Who are
Whatever.
you?
Yeah, who are
Tomato,
you?
tomato.
Oh, hey, Tomato.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And, trifecta.
I thought his name was Tomato Tomato. It's like, that's a
It's
cool
just
name.
a bunch of liberal lies.
Oh, that's true. Like the moon landing.
As you can
But we're
tell,
definitely not a quadrilateral.
Anyway, as you can tell, we're missing one. That's Mike. He is still off wandering the globe or something.
Where in the world is Mike?
That was funnier than it should have been. I like it.
So
but we're
yeah,
here.
Before we get started, last episode was the end of our extremely long-running RPG. And I did do what I said I was gonna do. I turned all of the original episodes from way back before the show was put on YouTube. I found all those episodes, turned them into videos, and put them all on YouTube. Not only the character creation and the first 3 episodes, but also the initial inspiration for the RPG, which was our 2009 April Fool's episode.
Wow.
Yeah. Which was Adventures in Zendikar, where
Yeah, it was.
the April Fool's episodes that we used to do before, we all grew up and lost the joy in our lives. Sorry, before the world got so depressing that trying to do that was worth it.
If your life is the parody, then what does that have?
Exactly. Yeah, it's not that we lost our joy; it's that the world did. But also, April Fool's episodes are just April Fool's things on the internet are just horribly annoying these days. So yeah, but we used to try to do something weird every episode and pretend that was just the way things were. So in that episode, Magic was a tabletop RPG, and we played it for the podcast every week. Which, in 2009, I think that was before that was a thing. Like, I don't think there was a Critical Role in 2009.
No, a Critical Role is celebrating their 10th anniversary next year. So,
man, we were way ahead of the curve. We should have actually done that. But yeah, we even fussed at Mike for going rogue as the DM on our previous campaign, the Romp on Ravnica.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to the beginning of that again, where we were giving Mike hell, and Mike was defending himself in true Mike fashion, and it was really fun. But yeah, that episode is the beginning. It's all on a playlist on YouTube. That episode's the beginning. Then the character creation episode, which is 0, and then 1 through 19 is currently up. By the time anyone not listening live hears this, the full playlist, including the finale, will be up, because that's going up tomorrow morning as of this recording. So yeah, it took slightly more work than I expected, but we got it all I got it all up and posted, and yay.
Good job.
So if you want to listen to the Heirs of Trevister RPG, you can, all at once on YouTube. It took me forever to track down all the episodes to put in the playlist because it turns out I was really crappy about titling episodes in a way where doing a search would show them all. So I'm like, okay, Brian went back and found them all at some point, and he's the one who told us, all right, this is like episode 15. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when I put them all in a playlist, it was like 16 episodes. I'm like, hold up. There's supposed to be 22. One of them I haven't turned into a video yet. The other one isn't. Okay, so there's supposed to be 20. How many have I got? 16. So I had to go to the hosting site where the podcast lives, type in like Trevister, and then scroll through each one. I'm like, okay, do I have that one? I got that one. I got that one. I got that one. I don't have this one. So I'll go type that number into YouTube, add it to the playlist. All right. That's only 17. Damn it. So then I typed to MTG RPG because that's how I was titling it there for a while. And that got me 2 more. And then I just had to try to find the other one. I don't remember how now because that was last week. But this is why you label things in a clear manner originally, so this crap doesn't happen to you years later. Chewie, you idiot.
That's literally everybody.
But that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're finally going to go look at Duskmourn, the new Magic set, because, why not? And
Halloween's coming up before long. Why not talk about something scary?
Yeah, sure. And this set is just loaded with horror movie tropes and whatnot.
Yep. It's kind of distinguished from Innistrad, whereas Innistrad is more classic horror, like, Bram Stoker, Mary Shelley, and even like the Universal movies, Frankenstein, etc. This is more like modern horror.
Yeah, this is Hollywood nonsense.
And lots of haunted house shtick stuff.
Yeah.
I have not read the story yet. I have been meaning to, and I am not going to go into it, but Chewie knows just how busy I was last week. Hint, oh my god, it was a lot. But I'll probably go back and read it now that I actually have 2 minutes of spare time.
Yeah,
hurry up. Shall we discuss the mechanics?
Sure, why not?
Okay. So, you're in a house. What does a house have?
Scary things.
A medical staff.
Dolls.
A bum leg.
I feel concerned about Dirk, where he thinks every house has to have scary things and dolls.
Ooh, a Vicodin addiction.
And Chewie's house has both a medical... Oh, you're talking about... I never saw House MD, but good job.
Yeah,
I was
watching through that while I was doing other stuff, and I've made it like halfway through season 2, I think.
How many seasons are there?
More than probably should be necessary.
It's like 8 or 9.
That's a lot. And
yeah, I seem to remember the last season especially being kind of like, but it's been a long time since I watched it.
But every house, in theory, has rooms. Unless it's an extremely open floor plan, then it has room. But
that's still a room.
Rooms are enchantments. And the way they work is each one has a different mana cost. Each card has 2 rooms on it. And it's a split card, like Feast or Famine. What was the popular one? Fact or Fiction, the blue one, of course.
What? No, Fact or Fiction was a blue card, not a split card.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
dagnabbit. It was. Oh man.
I was
But
like,
you know
what?
the split cards where they travel up the card vertically versus horizontally, and it's basically two images of cards, and each one has a separate mana cost. And here, when you play one of these room enchantments, you pick which half of it you're going to play. And when it enters the battlefield, that room is considered unlocked. And then later, as a sorcery, or even the same turn if you've got enough mana, but once it's on the battlefield, you can pay the mana cost for the other half, and then both are unlocked, which means that both are active. So if they have static effects that are ongoing, say one is an anthem or something like that, then it's on all the time. Others will have effects like when you unlock this room, do blah. So the example here is in white, and it is a mythic, and it is Dollmaker's Shop and Porcelain Gallery. Dollmaker's Shop costs 1 and a white, so it's kind of the earlier one. Whenever one or more non-toy creatures you control attack a player, create a 1/1 white toy artifact creature token. We've seen this in white a couple times now in recent sets. So you're just gradually building up an army of dolls, but you do need a non-doll to start it off. And then later in the game, when you get up to 6 mana, 4 and 2 white, you can either just play Porcelain Gallery from hand, or you can go and unlock the door to it if the shop is already on the battlefield. And Porcelain Gallery says creatures you control have base power and toughness, each equal to the number of creatures you control.
Oh,
Gee,
that's terrifying.
I've got all these dolls. Now they're all huge. And of course, again, I like how versatile these are. You can run them with a theme, or you can just be like, hey, the first one just gets you more guys. And the second one, if you just draw it late and you've got a bunch of other stuff on the board, you're just like, oh look, I now kind of have a pseudo, was it coat of arms? Kind of, sorta. Everything's huge, and then I attack. So that's how rooms work. Everybody got it?
And if this is a thing I've seen in 3 different places, and I have not been paying attention to previews, and I've seen it in 3 different places. If a doll, if a room that has some number of doors unlocked or rooms unlocked is blinked or enters the battlefield without having a mana cost paid, then it's still there, and it's still an enchantment room, but none of the doors are unlocked. You have to pay to unlock them.
Correct.
So, like, if someone blinks your Dollmaker Shop, then it comes back and it's just there, and you can pay either mana costs to unlock either side. And then at some point, if you like, you can pay the other too. Oh, yep. Razorback says it also doesn't have a name until you pay the mana. That part I didn't know. That's neat.
And that makes sense, though. For those that like weird rules interactions, while a room is on the battlefield, it only has the characteristics of any unlocked sides. That includes the mana cost. So while I had scrolled down just a bit, while Dollmaker's Shop is on the battlefield, if you haven't unlocked Porcelain Gallery, it only costs 2. This matters for things like Lasting Zone or Pernicious Deed, things like that. But once you unlock Porcelain Gallery, if you have both unlocked, its mana value is 8.
So when you're doing like the gods and everything, that
Devotion
will affect.
Matters. Yeah. That's right, because with just the first half on, your devotion to white is 1. With Porcelain Gallery by itself, it's 2, and if you have both, it's 3. That's right. Dirk, taking it back.
Of course, I always think about this in reference to me, but you know.
Well, sure, but I mean, some of these are definitely going to get played in Commander, so...
All right. You heard it here first. Dirk thinks he's a god. Got it.
In other words, I need more of these rooms.
And here I thought I was the egotistical one.
he just took Winston's advice to heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do say yes.
Yes.
Yeah, every time.
Huh?
If someone
Anyway,
asks, you're a god. Yeah. So those are rooms. You'll also notice, just in general, there is an enchantment theme to the set. I'd say the two major themes going over all the mechanics are enchantments and graveyards. What's next?
hey Dirk, why don't you tell us what? I can't
Tell you what
English.
Manifest Dread is?
Yeah, that.
Because that doesn't sound terrible and everything. It's a new keyword that introduces a threat of the unknown. So I'll go ahead and read the card, and we'll see what it does. So, Unwanted Remake for a white mana is an instant to destroy target creature. Its controller manifests dread, and the text says that player looks at the top 2 cards of their library, then puts one onto the battlefield face down as a 2/2 creature, and the other into their graveyard. If it's a creature card, it can be turned face up anytime for its mana cost.
Yeah. So
So it's
it's a new twist on Manifest, which itself
Yeah.
was a new twist on Morph.
I was about to say that's go all the way back to Onslaught block with the morph.
Yeah.
Morph is on creatures and you play them from your hand face down.
Mhm.
Manifest is generally either from your hand or from your library, and can be whatever, and it can only be turned up if it's actually a creature. It was in Fate Reforged, the second set of Tarkir block. Manifest Dread has this selection where you look at the top 2. I like Manifest. I always liked Manifest as far as the whole, like, if I need a dude, I don't care if it's a land or a sorcerer or whatever, it's actually a dude. And surprise, surprise, it's, a Phyrexian Dreadnought. That's awesome. I like it. And I liked how Manifest wasn't tied to the creature itself, because you could only ever morph a creature with morph. My only difficulty with Manifest Dread is standard right now, and it's not unbalanced or anything like that. What did we have in the last year? We had Murders at Karlov. I got it right this time. Karlov Manor,
Hey, wait.
which has the other morph mechanic, but those face down creatures get ward. Is it ward 1 or ward 2? The
Doesn't matter.
undercover. Yeah. So now in standard, you can have a face down creature that has morph, that has ward, and one that doesn't. So you're gonna have to pay real close attention to how that creature got on the battlefield, because the back of the card won't tell you anything. And I
True.
can see that being problematic.
Which
I don't know, maybe I'm
again
reading.
is just a tendon. You can tell Magic has shifted over the years to being designed for digital, because there would have been a time where they would not have printed these two mechanics where they were in the same standard format. They just wouldn't have,
Right.
for exactly that reason.
Right.
Which is
Too
why
much
we
potential
bring
for
it up,
confusion.
because we're old.
We are old. And you know what? That fact bothers me less and less. At some point, it'll probably bother me a lot more when I'm like, oh shoot. But for right now, I don't mind. I'm seasoned. Let's put it that way. Like your steak.
But yeah, Manifest
But
Dread is, I mean, it's Manifest. It's just now you're essentially, you're not scrying. What is it?
the other one goes into your graveyard, so that's surveil.
Yeah, you're essentially doing a Manifest with Surveil. It's sort of,
Yeah.
kind
Which
of. You know what we mean.
which again feeds into the graveyard theme.
Yeah. But it is really cool. I did see this in the Discord. Someone, usually Chifuji, makes a thread for previews for every set. And that's so that the main Magic channel, can be free for other stuff. And then the thread gets, just all the cards barfed into it. And I saw one card called Manifest Dread, and its rules text was Manifest Dread. And I went, what? Because I hadn't seen the mechanic yet. And I was like, It'd be like if there was a card called, I don't know, First Strike, and all it said was First Strike. It's just weird.
As long as it isn't called First Strike and it gives the creature menace, which I could be like, I'm twitching. My eye is twitching.
So
you could see them doing that, especially in the old days, though.
I think they did, but yeah, Manifest Dread is neat, but it's kind of.
I mean, you get it.
Yeah, it's kind of simple. Yeah. I do like that the helper card here shows the dread part.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's an unknown terror down there.
Yeah.
And I like that. But all right, so next up is survival. So this is an ability word.
Yes.
Which means that it's a different outcome every time it's on the card, but the basic premise is the same. You'll see what we mean. So the card here is Veteran Survivor, which is for a single white, a 2/1 at uncommon. Hey, you remember when that was rare?
Yeah, like that was whole Savannah Lion's whole thing.
We're old.
We are old.
Although, to be fair, Savannah Lions was, before our time even. Like, when it came back, it wasn't because it was a good rare. It was because they were mining for nostalgia. But anyway. Veteran Survivor for a single white is a 2/1 human survivor at uncommon, and it has survival. Okay. At the beginning of your second main phase, which is how that's worded now. It's not pre and post combat main phase anymore, which is important to note, I guess. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Veteran Survivor is tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. And so that the result, the exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, that's the part that's different on each card. But at the beginning of your second main phase, if this card with survival is tapped, that's the part that's the same.
Yeah, because while there are ways to cheat around this, in theory, one of the easiest ways it's tapped is if it attacked and survived.
Exactly. And then there's more, because power creep is real. As long as there are 3 or more cards exiled with Veteran Survivor, it gets +3/+3 and has hexproof. So, if you can have it survive 3 times, then you'll have a 5/4 hexproof, which, it's okay. I mean, for 1 mana, but it still is going to take 3 turns. So, it's not...
Unless you, again, cheat and find another way to, exile extra cards.
But... I mean, there's not. Because it says exiled with Veteran Survivor.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, it's not like, hey, I can get a 5/4 for 1. Not really. You can get a 5/4 for 1 and 3 turns and shenanigans of some sort.
Yeah.
Because surely, if you attack that 3rd time, your opponent's going to try to kill it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what survival is. It's,
Yep.
It is what it is. It's another mechanic that fits the theme.
The theme. Yeah. Yep.
Hey, people that have paid attention to the set, is there a card called Final Girl or something to that effect? Please tell me there is.
There really should be.
Right? All right, now we have a crab skeleton. What?
Eerie.
I looked at this and just was like, whoa.
Oh, he's cute,
Eerie. Eerie is another ability word that does something different every time, but it's a triggered ability. And it triggers...
Wait. The article says eerie, and the entire text before you see the card is, yeah.
Yeah.
right. I'm sorry. I just had to.
You're good. You're good. Eerie is a triggered ability that triggers whenever an enchantment you control enters the battlefield, and whenever you fully unlock a room, meaning both halves are open. Uh, the example is Scrabbling
Oh.
Skull Crab. For a single blue, it's a 0/3 uncommon. It's a crab skeleton. The art is fantastic. I actually really like it. And it has Eerie. Whenever an enchantment you control enters and whenever you fully unlock a room, target player mills 2 cards, which
Oh.
gives you great synergy, not just with the rooms, but just with enchantments, which also means this plays well with literally so many theme decks out there, both in standard, in older sets, in commander. There are so many enchantment based commanders, Zur, and the Kali. Well, this is blue, so you're not going to do it in the white green one, but people love their enchantments, so this is going to be triggering a
And
lot. And
people
I
love
can also
0/3 crabs for 1 mana that mill opponents. Like, what is
yeah,
that about?
Hedron crabs, that sort of thing. It's just what crabs do, I guess. They burrow into your library and then they like spit it out. But I could also see this being fairly strong for limited because first of all, you're already working with a smaller deck size for your opponent. It also holds the ground for a couple turns at least. And again, there are not just enchantments in the set, but like enchantment creatures. So it's gonna be triggering a couple times. I mean, that's
Oh.
really all there is to say about it because this is another one like uh, survival that is so dependent on the actual creature or card that is triggering this. Like, okay, we get it, but what does it actually do? So, but we'll get to more of that in the card image gallery, I'm sure.
Possibly. Also, Razorback pointed out you can mill yourself with this one. So
True.
if you're not trying to mill out your opponent and you're trying to, do graveyard stuff,
Yeah.
that might be a better solution.
I'm looking again up at Veteran Survivor. Veteran Survivor exiles up to one target card from a graveyard. So if the opponent's like, "Well, I'm just not going to do it," then you can be like, "All right." Now in that situation, you could also be, with the Skull Crab, you could still be milling them. But if you've got graveyard shenanigans, go right ahead, mill yourself. Mike is not even here to say this, but Mike would like this card.
Well, yeah. All right, next.
Impending. Because, again, that doesn't sound scary enough.
Like a disaster?
Something. So apparently
This is
impending
only
is a
on a
new
cycle of
keyword
cards.
found on a cycle of overlords that lets you cast them ahead of schedule. So the example is Overlord of the Haunt Woods. For 3 and 2 green, total of 5. It's a 6/5 enchantment creature avatar horror. That is mythic.
That is a mouthful.
It is. Impending 4 is what it says, and that costs 1 and 2 green. So total of 3. If you cast this spell for its impending cost, it enters with 4 time counters and isn't a creature until the last is removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter from it. And it says,
so it's not quite suspend.
It's not quite suspend, but it's important because it will still enter, which not only means that it can be destroyed, like with a naturalize, but stuff like what Dirk's about to read will trigger.
So it says, whenever Overlord of the Haunt Woods enters or attacks, create a tapped colorless land token named Everywhere. That is every basic land type.
What the hell?
I want to see I kind of want to see the token for everywhere. Yeah.
I'm sure it's in the card image gallery.
I'm sure.
So for
it's not just
3
anywhere,
mana,
it's everywhere.
so for 3 mana, essentially you just get a multi-land out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a domain in a box. Razorback just said in the chat. I didn't even think about that. With every land type, you've got instant domain. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. You know what else is interesting about this? It's not legendary.
Oh, it's not. Thank God.
No.
That would never fit.
I'm just thinking that, turn 3, you play this, you get a land from it, right? So you're up to 4 mana. Turn
I see where you're
4,
going.
you untap, play a 5th land, or the 4th from your hand, play another one.
Yeah, this time play it straight. So you've got a 6/5. Yeah.
Mm.
Well, that's neat.
Yeah. Also slightly terrifying. But again, remember, this is just on a cycle. It's not like you're going to see a ton of these.
Yeah.
Because this is by far, I think it's understood. I don't think it's that hard to get, but it's definitely one of the more complex mechanics in the set because it's a creature, but it's not a creature. So, technically, if you cast it for its impending cost, I think if you had counter target creature spell, it would still work.
Would
I need Mike for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah.
I think the set fac is up already, so I'm sure that was answered already.
Probably.
But yeah, it is worth noting that you can blink it to make it a creature. Oh, you can, can't you?
That's true. Because again, it's on the battlefield. That's one of the biggest differences, but that is probably the biggest difference with this and Suspend is with Suspend, the card is exiled. With Impending, it's on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's exiled and hasn't been cast yet, whereas this has been cast and so it's a cross between like Suspend and not Fading. What was the other one called? What was Fixed Fading called, Chad? I can't remember, and we can't, and Brian can't either.
There's too many mechanics.
Vanishing, thank you. Yeah.
Vanishing. I was thinking more of the combination of of Suspend and some of the gods, I think from Amonkhet, where they hit the battlefield but they couldn't attack or block, or they weren't a creature, like the ones from Theros weren't creatures unless you hit a certain threshold, like Devotion. So this feels like a combination of those two.
Yeah, that's a good analogy too.
Thank you.
All right, and is that everything?
I think that's
really
everything.
There aren't any. Surely there are returning mechanics that they just didn't put into the article.
I think that, well, I know they brought Threshold back for the last set, so there might be some Threshold cards here, but I haven't looked at the card image gallery for pretty much anything, so.
This article is just new mechanic. Yeah, but in the mechanics article, they always have listed the ones that are coming back. Or at least they used to always have them listed. Because it's,
like right.
the mechanics in Duskmourn. Like the title says. Granted, that could be all of the mechanics that are in the main set, and there's a bunch of nonsense that's come back for the commander set, which is always the case.
Yeah.
But I don't pay attention to the commander sets because I just don't. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to be that guy because I feel like it's so easy. Oh, never-ending preview season, too many cards, and I do believe that you're not under an obligation to buy any of it. But at the same time,
thank goodness, because I don't.
But at the same time, I just can't keep track anymore. I just can't. But that's I know I've made that complaint before. It's just so much. It's just so many cards, and there's a part of me that's like the more cards are better, but it's a lot.
But is it really? All right, well, let's go to the card image gallery. Chat says that Delirium is returning, and it's in the main set.
That's right. I knew that there was another one.
I don't even remember what Delirium is. Is that bad? My brain keeps defaulting to the card Delirium, and I'm like, that's not
that's
it.
That's when you've got at least 4 card types in your graveyard. Then stuff.
Oh yeah, okay. Weird.
So we've got pretty much all the cards here.
Yeah, I've just to make things easier, I've switched it over to just the Duskmourn set.
I have 2. Have you zoomed in twice?
Out and yes.
Ah, I was supposed to remind him. So there, like everything's up.
What is that? What did I do? What did I do? Oh, I hadn't clicked. Okay. Sorry, hang on. I gotta click here and then go down. Sure. I wanted to go look at everywhere. Oh, there it was. Where is it? Oh, that's
colorless, or is it an artifact or land?
Yeah, well,
it's a land.
It's a land token.
Token land. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
I like that. Do those doors have mouths?
I think at least the red one in the background does. I think.
Oh, and you've got a white one and a red one and a green one.
Yep.
Yeah, and
black
blue
and blue are in the back too.
I didn't. Oh, yeah, you're right. Cool.
Yeah. So the everywhere token is, in fact, pretty neat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We've got a new cycle. I think it's a new cycle of dual lands.
Okay.
Like, I think it's a full 10 cycle, but I could be wrong. Black, white, red, green, white, blue, blue, black. Maybe not. Oh, this is the full cycle. These are common. Okay. So the common cycle.
I think there are a couple cycles of lands here, is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but the one that's the full 10 is the common cycle, where they don't have basic land type. Like, I'm looking at the red white one and the red black one. So Raucous Carnival, Razor Trap Gorge, and Strangled Cemetery is the black green one, because they're all here in a row. They don't have land types. They tap for either color. And they enter tapped unless a player has 13 or less life. So that, as far as common, dual land cycles go, that's pretty good. Later in the game, when you really need one more mana, hopefully it'll come in untapped when either you or your opponent are starting to be on the back foot. But then the other cycle is the rares, and there's only the allied colors of these, it looks like. Oh, let's just go back to the top. So the Blazemire Verge is the black-red one. And it taps... It's a rare land, no types. It taps for black. And it taps for red. But that says activate only if you control a swamp or a mountain. So if you have...
green-white one is Hushwood Verge. And same, tap for green, tap for white, activate only if you control a forest or a plain.
Yeah, that's what cycle means, Dirk.
Well, I know. So, the blue-black one is Gloom Lake Verge.
Yep. It taps for blue, and black is the extra one. Flood Farm Verge is the white-blue, and it taps for white. and blue is the extra one. So it looks like the earlier color in the cycle, going in Wooburg order, is the first ability, and then the one after it is the extra one that only activates if you have a basic land of either one, which I think is a neat touch.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you can use the Blazemire Verge to splash for red mana in a blue-black deck, because if once you get swamps, then the red turns on. So that's neat. I wouldn't say. Yeah, I guess you're right. Cyclops said they're better tainted lands essentially. And yeah, I think you're probably right. They are, because tainted lands, for those of you that aren't old, tapped for whatever 2 colors, but only if you controlled a swamp.
Correct. I think they all tapped for black, and then you could tap for a black or or one other color if you controlled a swamp, because Torment was so black.
Yeah, Torment was heavily black focused.
Yeah.
So yeah, and just pointing out they don't have to be basic, just have to have the appropriate land type. So if you have an everywhere,
there you go.
So like yeah, those are neat cycles as always. I just like to see how they keep coming up with new cycles.
I feel like having an everywhere is kind of like the changeling of trivia question answers.
Yeah.
Is just like, oh, what's the answer to that? Have an everywhere.
Terramorphic Expanse is back to help you go get those basics. There is what, Brian? What?
Sorry. There is one planeswalker in the set because they have scaled it back. So there are other creatures here that used to be planeswalkers, like the Wanderer, but only one still sparked planeswalker.
Okay.
And
well, hang on. There's one more land.
Sure.
While we're in lands, it's an enchantment land. It's how the hell do you say that? Valgavoth's Lair. Valgavoth.
Say that Valgavoth.
I'm guessing Valgavoth is the big bad, I would assume.
I think so, yeah.
But Valgavoth's Lair is an enchantment land. It has hexproof. It enters tapped, and as it enters, you choose a color, and it taps for 1 mana of that color. So it's a free enchantment. That's huge for like one of the mechanics in the set. And also lots of other things throughout Magic's history.
Yeah.
But other than that...
It's a free enchantment with hexproof.
There is that, yeah. But other than that, it's just a multi-purpose. What color do you need right the hell now?
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Since it's guaranteed to come in tapped, I mean, that's not bad, but it's not always going to be what you need. But hey, again, very little trade-off since they're never going to be able to blow it up with targets.
How is it not legendary? Too limiting? That's probably why.
I think too limiting, and they have had legendary lands, but they have really scaled back on a lot of that because just from a philosophy standpoint, flavor-wise, a land is more representative, less of the actual location and more of the mana connection that a planeswalker like the player has with it. So they have really, unless they feel like they need to make it legendary to balance it, they haven't done a ton of legendary lands lately. So,
yeah. I was all set to be like, oh, this card kind of sucks. And then my brain clicked. It's like, oh, it's a free enchantment. Ah! But okay, so Planeswalkers. Brian was trying to veer us in that direction.
Yep. There's only the one. So I figured, we could knock out some of the things like the Planeswalker, maybe the Overlord cycle, some stuff like that. But We have Kato, Bane of Nightmares. If you remember, he is from Neo Kamigawa, and his big thing is
Color?
ninjas. And what's that?
Color?
He is multicolored. He
Okay.
is in blue and black.
Sorry,
He's
I was
got.
trying to get to it and you were burying the lead. Ah,
Yep.
okay, there we go.
Okay. So he's all about ninjas. That's kind of been his thing, and that is like doubled down here. So for two, a blue and a black, he comes in with 4 loyalty. He's mythic. He's legendary planeswalker Kato, and he has ninjutsu.
Yep.
For one, a blue and a black. And for those of us that aren't super old like us, from original Kamigawa back in the like forever ago,
Before this
ninjutsu
show
Yeah.
existed. That's how forever
yes,
ago.
The
yeah,
early aughts.
yeah, the early aughts. How ninjutsu works is if you have a creature, usually only on creatures, if you have a card with ninjutsu in your hand and you're attacking with another creature, and that creature, after the declare blocker's step, or after the declare blocker's part of that step, if you have at least one creature that is unblocked, you can pay the ninjutsu cost of the card in your hand and switch the one that's attacking unblocked with the one in your hand. It enters tapped and attacking. The difference is this is a planeswalker. Well, what does that mean? He also has the ability during your turn, as long as Kato has one or more loyalty counters on him, which is what he needs to stay on the battlefield. He's a 3/4 ninja creature and has hexproof. So that's pretty cool. And you know he's not going to get damaged at least the first time because it's unblocked. He has 3 abilities. Plus one. That's right. Plus one. You get an emblem with ninjas you control get plus one, plus one.
What the hell? What the
Sec-
hell?
I mean, in standard, I think I read there's literally only other one ninja other than cards with changeling because they're a thing right now. In standard, it's on the back of one of the battles. So this isn't doing a crazy amount, but if nothing else, he's pumping himself. So, and they're emblems. They're emblems. Second ability, no loyalty. Surveil 2, then draw a card for each opponent who lost life this turn. Like, if you hit them with Kato. -2 for the last ability. Tap target creature, put 2 stun counters on it. That may
Oh,
not feel like a lot. That's a lot. There's no ultimate here. The ultimate ability is just like get him out a turn early, out of nowhere, and start pumping him or doing like none of these are bad abilities. The second one is literally a 0 for draw card if somebody has lost life. And in multiplayer, this may be multiple draw cards for no loyalty. This is not broken, but this is kind of absurd, and it's very clear they want this guy to be like one of the main faces of the set. Because holy cow, what else do you even want? It slices and dices and makes like julienne fries and whatnot. All the fries.
yeah. I like it. Like you
Side note,
said, it's not broken. It's just solid.
it is very solid. It does one or two things, and it does them super well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. While I was scrolling up to get to the Planeswalkers, I scrolled past a card called Found Footage and had to stop and make a face at it. It's called
Did you
Found
find found
Footage.
footage? found it. What is it? Is an artifact?
It's an artifact, yeah. For a
Okay.
single mana. It's a clue. So it has
Of course it is.
It sort of has the clue ability. It says you may look at face down creatures your opponents control anytime, which is really cool. And then pay 2 and sacrifice it to surveil 2, then draw a card. So wait. Is this the first clue that doesn't have the clue ability?
I think so.
At least the first one I'm aware of.
Yeah. I think you're right.
And there's also a ghost vacuum. Because why not? There's a Ghostbusters secret lair drop that was shown. So, of course, there's a ghost vacuum. And there's a flashlight. And a television. What even is magic anymore?
I mean, that's the question a lot of people have raised, and I try not to jump on the bandwagon because magic can be a lot of different things. And I realize it's not just for me, but that I could see people having an issue with that because this isn't just an evolution. This looks really different. But
Oh, well. All right, what else do we want to talk about?
well, there's cycles of things, and sometimes we talk about cycles of things.
And
And
yeah,
of
we
course,
should do the Overlords.
yes, Overlord.
Because that one is ridiculous. Oh, wait, I can just search for Overlord in the handy little search bar here. Hey, look at that. Go. Okay. So let's start on the white one. Because, racism. Overlord of the Mistmoors. Mistmoors. That's, I don't know why, that's just fun to say. Yeah. For 5 white, they're all enchantment creature avatar horror, as far as I know. So for 5 white, this is a 6/6. Or it has impending 4, 2 white. It says, whenever Overlord of the Mistmoors enters or attacks, create 2 2/1 white insect creature tokens with flying. Getting 2 2/1s with flying for 4 mana, like, it's not amazing, but it's not bad.
It's not bad, and part of the effect of impending really does feel like, oh, it's coming. Something else I failed to mention before is another effect of impending is that when the last counter is removed, it's not like you exile it and then return it to the battlefield. It's already on the battlefield, so summoning sickness isn't a thing.
Yeah. But because you're removing counters during your end step, it's not like you have to worry about, can it attack this turn? Because it became a creature at the end of your last turn.
Also true.
Yeah, which they probably did for that reason.
So 4 mana for 2/1 insects with flying. I mean, that's fine. And if they deal with them, the bigger issue is on the way.
Yeah.
6/6, jeez.
But I mean, in limited, getting 4 power of flying out of nowhere with a larger threat coming in the future is pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus, that is a scary sumbitch.
Yeah. He looks like a Slender Man, Eldrazi hybrid.
And no, sir, I don't like it.
The showcase card really makes that look like an Eldrazi Slender Man thing.
Yeah.
I don't always like showcase cards, but that is crazy. And if I end up going to a pre-release this weekend, somehow it's this weekend, and Sam's in soccer, so I'm not sure, I would be happy if I pulled that, not just for the value unlimited, but just like, it's creepy and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
It's not like puking fish creepy, but it's
All
up there.
right,
It was gonna come up at some point.
let's do the blue one.
Let's do the blue one. Well, I talked about Kato. Dirk, do you want this one or do you want the next one?
I'll do the blue one.
Okay.
Overlord of the Flood Pits. For 3 and 2 blue, he's a 5/3 enchantment creature, avatar horror. Impending a 4, and that's 1 and 2 blue. He has flying. Whenever Overlord of the Flood Pit enters or attacks, draw 2 cards, then discard a card.
Again,
Very good.
yeah, draw 2 and discard 1 for 3 is pretty standard, if I remember correctly, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think so.
That's not gonna break anything, but it's good. I'm fine to do that on turn 3. To spend a turn drawing to discard 1. That's fine. And then later getting to do that every time it attacks, and it has evasion.
And it hits real hard. Yeah.
It hits real hard, and I'm drawing, and I'm also setting up my graveyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in blue, you're spending the mana early, in theory. I know you won't always have this on turn 3, but you're spending the mana early, and then later, you spend no more mana on this. So you've got plenty of mana to cast instants and react to what they're doing. And just keep your 5/3 flyer alive. And keep drawing answers to their stuff. This might be a thing. I haven't played competitively in a long time. This feels like a lot of value for very little cost. And if they don't counter it when you play it for impending, it doesn't go on the stack later. They can blow it up, but
Yeah.
ooh, yeah, this one has a lot going on.
But Dice to Doomblade is not a valid argument.
Right.
Because everything dies to Doomblade. We hear you, Doomblade guy. We just don't care.
Yeah.
All right, then. So the black one.
The Overlord of the Baelmerk. I have not read this, so I'm coming at this fresh.
Baelmerk.
This is some really like Cthulhu Twisted Anatomies type of stuff. Normally costs 3 and 2 black for a 5/5, so a 5/5 for 5, which, hey, that's great. It has impending 5 of 1 and a black, so the impending is higher than the other cards we've seen, but the cost is lower. Whenever it enters or attacks mill 4 cards, then you may return a non-avatar creature card or a planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. So, once again, setting up your graveyard, but then if you pitch something in there that you want, you can get it back. And I like how it includes planeswalkers, not just creatures.
Yeah.
And
I also like how it excludes avatars, so you can't do anything too broken.
But also notice, like, lately they've done some like mill cards, then if there's a blank card in those milled cards, do whatever with it. This is just a creature card in your graveyard, so you can have something that keeps dying on the battlefield and you just keep bringing it back. You get started with this very early. Now, if you do it again for that very early, it will be a while before you can do it again. But in theory, you've got other stuff to do. So this one, again, does not seem silly or broken, but it is solid and it's kind of terrifying. And would I pay 1 and a black for mill 4, then return? Essentially, it's like a raised dead with a mill on it. That would probably be worth it. But the fact, again, this one, I think you definitely want to eventually get the creature. Some of the other ones we've seen, I've been like, if I play the green one and I only get the land, I'm a little sad, but hey, I'm at least up a bit. This one, I really want to be doing this like a lot. So I feel like there's more value in the creature. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, I just happened to see in the Discord that hey, you remember the Magic Netflix anime thing?
Didn't they cancel it?
Yeah, just recently Brandon Routh was like, "Yeah, it was canceled." And now Netflix geeked and on Twitter and Deadline has posted that they're starting again.
Ah.
So, what is this a? Is this a different? Okay, so the one with Brandon Routh was scrapped. So his version, which was written and recorded, has been scrapped, but Netflix is going in a new direction, and Routh is no longer part of it. Oh. So it's a new show. So they're basically starting over, which means this will never get made either. So
Yeah.
But remember, this whole thing has been quote unquote in the works since 2019, and it had the Russo brothers involved, like it was their show, and then they all dipped, and then it's bounced around to a couple other people, and now it's, I don't know how you pronounce his name, Terry Matalas, who is recently named showrunner of Marvel's Vision series for Disney Plus. Oh. Matalas was recently showrunner of Star Trek Picard for the 3rd and 4th seasons. The 4th season of CBS's MacGyver. Is there a new MacGyver? Best known for co-creating.
There being one, yes.
Oh. Best known for co-creating and showrunning Sci-Fi's adaptation of 12 Monkeys. Other credits include Nikita, Terra Nova, Night Flyers, and Star Trek Enterprise. Oh. All right. So
there's a couple things in there I recognize.
Yeah, a guy that has some clout. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack us, but I just saw that in the Discord, and I was like, hey, we're recording a Magic podcast as we speak. I should probably bring that up. Okay, anyway, back to the Overlords. How about the red one? I guess I'll read the red one.
How about that red? Yeah.
So the Overlord of the Boilerbilges. Boilerbilges. One more time. Boilerbilges. I like this one just for the name. That's better than Mistmoors. All right, so for 4 red, it's a 5/5. Or for 2 red, impending 4. When it attacks, it enters or attacks, it deals 4 damage to any target. Oh. Yeah, okay. I mean, 4 mana at sorcery speed for 4 damage isn't great. But when you've got a 5/5 that tosses, what is 4 damage?
Fearing.
2 shocks. But yeah, when it's 4 damage and then the threat of a 5/5 that tosses 4 damage around at will, yeah, that's all right. That's pretty good. I like it.
That's. Ooh, this might be one of my favorites.
Plus, you get to say Boilerbilges.
You do.
Boilerbilges.
Chewie's just living the dream. We'll just come back to him later. He's just gonna be muttering. Boilerbilges.
Mistmoors? Boilerbilges. Hauntwoods? Boilerbilges.
We'll just get back to Chewie later. You have fun, buddy, okay?
Flood pits! Boilerbilges. Anyway. Hey chat, what should we talk about? Should we look at some rooms?
Well, one thing I want to point out, so I was flipping through and everything, and there are glittery cards.
There are
Glittery
glittery
cards.
So whenever there's the Nyx, and there's the cards that have the border that has the shiny, like astral border.
Yeah, the enchantment creatures.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what those? Because it was
That's
the
what those
glimmer
are.
and the horrors, the ones that I kept seeing had that.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
okay.
example, in white, Enduring Innocence is an
Mhm.
enchantment creature, Sheep Glimmer.
Ah!
For 1 and 2 white, it is a 2/1 with lifelink. It's a rare. Whenever one or more other creatures you control with power 2 or less enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. We've seen this a couple times lately. It's play lots of small dudes. When Enduring Innocence dies, if it was a creature, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. It's an enchantment. It's not a creature. So you still get the static effect.
Okay, that's trippy.
Creatures you control. How do you know if it's a creature or an enchantment?
Well, it's
You'll
always an
just
enchantment.
Okay.
But he means if it's, I think basically, how do you remember if it's not a creature? You'll just
Oh,
have to mark it in some way
yeah.
or just.
Put it on a
And it
different part of the
looks,
battlefield, flip it upside down,
yeah,
something.
it looks like it's another cycle
Of enduring cards?
of enduring cards. Put in
Ooh,
enduring into your search.
enduring. Let's look at those because enduring innocence. That's really neat. That if this
Yeah.
enchantment creature dies, then it comes back as just an enchantment. Like
Yeah.
that's fascinating to me.
And keep in mind the way it says is if when it dies, if it was a creature, return to the battlefield. Uh, that way, if you destroy it again,
It just
it's
goes to the
not coming
graveyard.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you
And then
blink it
if
when it's an enchantment, it'll come back as a creature, and then you get another
that,
go.
there you go. Blink.
All right.
Okay. That alternate art for Enduring Curiosity is entirely too cute. I just can't even.
I could see Sam being like, I am collecting all the alternate
I
arts.
I don't know that I'm going to show this to her because that's going to be hard to get.
All right. So
Without
enduring
just
curiosity. Okay, wait. Okay, so the sheep had lifelink. Enduring curiosity is a cat glimmer for 2 blue that has flash. And it's a 4/3. It says whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Which that's really good. And it has the enduring thing.
notice that this one doesn't say this ability triggers only once per turn. And it also doesn't say whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player.
Yeah. It just says
So,
whenever a creature hits player. So if you swing with 2 and they both connect,
yes, I like to draw 2 cards, please.
use this with
Well,
the room that makes toys.
well, I
Yeah.
could see this being with the ninjutsu people too.
Oh, Jesus.
Good job, Dirk.
I remember ninjutsu being annoying.
That's
That
because
was
it was.
my recollection of ninjutsu.
All right, so that's a cool glimmer. What's the black one do?
Well, that is the enduring tenacity.
Ugh.
So for 2 and 2 black, it's a 4/3 snake glimmer. Whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life.
that much life. That's important. There's a bat
Huh.
in what's the set we just had? Literally all the forest creatures.
Bloomburrow.
Bloomburrow. Thank you. There's a bat with offspring that says whenever
Oh,
you
yeah.
gain life, each opponent loses a life. So and that gets played, at least on when I'm playing on an arena. I've seen a lot of it. This says target opponent loses that much life. That's important.
Yeah. And it's a 4/3 that does the enduring
Yeah.
thing.
It doesn't have a static like flash flying lifelink. Its ability is already what you want.
Yeah.
So, quite frankly, this is the one that I'm probably the least worried about losing the creature side. Okay, I lose a 4/3.
Yeah, don't
Whoop
care.
de doo. Don't
Like I
care.
want to put this in my that deck, that mono black 60 card casual deck that used my life
Yeah.
as a resource, so it had lots of drain life and
Oh,
consume
yeah.
spirit and siphon souls.
Drain life would be like you drain life somebody for 5, you gain 5, and then you lose another 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of sick.
Although the enduring innocence with this would definitely be
Enduring
annoying.
Innocence has lifelink, so it's just a
Yeah.
2/1, but yeah.
All right. How about the red one? Oh, it's a
The red,
dog.
he's a good doggo. This is Enduring Courage. And 2 and 2 red for a 3/3 dog glimmer. Whenever another creature you control enters, it gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn.
Yep.
And
That
then
that's
enduring.
cool.
That I mean,
Mhm.
this is what red does, and like uh, this feels like an enormous threat that even when they kill this, it's not. Yes, they have to kill this or it's going to kill them, but then the enchantment side is going to be like, oh, don't care. This is the one that I feel like needs the least effort to be good. Like the black one, you still need life gain. The blue one, you still need, you know, to draw into good things. That's not hard, but this is the most straight up just all your stuff is bigger and can attack immediately. Like, what else do you want? You play this with creatures. Boom.
And once again, the showcase version of it is far too cute.
Oh god, you don't even
Build
have to play
thing.
it with creatures. You can play it with creature tokens.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true.
There's another one that you play with that room that makes toys. I guess you've got to hit with something first, but
Yeah. Ugh.
oh wait, no, that doesn't work with that one because that one makes the toy after combat, doesn't it? Boo!
Does it?
I don't remember now. Hang on, I can go look. Uh
Porcelain something.
oh, when it attacks, yeah, you create
Oh,
a 1/1. So it doesn't work for those.
no, because then it can't turn around and attack.
Yeah,
But
scratch that. All right, and then the green one. Hey Derek, what's the green one do? I'm typecasting.
Enduring Vitality. For 1 and 2 green, it's a little bit cheaper. It's a 3/3 with Vigilance. Creatures you control have tap. Add 1 mana of any color. Ugh.
Huh. That's
and the alternate art is just straight up Bambi.
it's just straight up Bambi.
But this one looks innocuous until you realize that you may be like doubling your mana.
Yeah, all you need is like the little army of minions that some of the cards we've already been talking about, and all of a sudden you have an army. You just have you can drop your hand. Everything in your hand. Just play it.
Or you spend a couple early turns playing other stuff. Just get out a couple tokens or whatever. Then drop this. And then turn around next turn and play one huge thing you have no right to play. I do feel like this one's a bit vulnerable. I know we say, we don't consider, dies to Doomblade. But this one is just asking for a sweeper immediately afterward. But if they don't, then you're probably never hurting for mana ever again.
But also it's enduring, so all you've got to do is play a couple of creatures and you're right back. you're right back in it.
You know what really works, and I'm looking at all of these now. Some of these work better together than others, and Dirk mentioned the black one and the white one because the white one has lifelink. But really, the red and the green together are creatures you control have haste, +2/+0, and tap to add 1 mana of any color, and they can use it immediately because of haste.
And then whatever they cast comes in with haste. Oh yeah.
Correct. I mean, all of these are good, but those two together in particular feel like, yeah.
Yeah.
And the enduring vitality helps you pay for the double red for the enduring courage.
That's just silly. All right. Chat, what else should we look at? Or, you guys here on the call. Whatever.
How about, what are you afraid of?
White people?
Afraid no
Well,
ghost.
Oh, I'm afraid of Americans. I'm afraid of the world.
Let me do a search for that real quick.
Okay,
I'm afraid I can't help it. I'm afraid I can.
Search for fear.
David Bowie.
Because there's a lot of fears.
Oh, yeah, I sent the fear of abduction to Renee because she actually is afraid of aliens coming to get her. She sent me back a thanks, I hate it. And yeah, I was just looking at the abhorrent Oculus before we get into that because I used it for the background for this because I typed in Duskmourn art and I saw the big eye and I went, oh, yeah, we're doing that. So the abhorrent Oculus for 2 and a blue is a mythic eye, because of course it's an eye. It's a 5/5 with flying for 3 mana. As an additional cost, you have to exile 6 cards from your graveyard. So there's that. Like, that's important. You can't just drop this on turn 3 and be like, oh. Unless your first 2 turns were really well done. And then it says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, manifest dread. Ugh. Dorks?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
This is why, like, if you remember, what was it, Verdant Force, where you got a sapling during each player's upkeep? In multiplayer was so good was because the more players you had, the better it was. This feels very similar. You actually don't get one during your turn, but on your turn you have a 5/5 flyer. So that's already really good.
Plus all those 2/2s that you've gathered.
Yeah. Plus then you've also fed your graveyard. Plus then you've also got a bunch of guys on the battlefield that may or may not turn out to be other things. For example, and I'm just throwing this out there, if one of them is an abhorrent Oculus, you can just flip it up for 3 mana.
Yeah. And the thing to remember about Manifest is you could do it whenever you want. It is not sorcery speed.
And it doesn't use the stack, much like Morph. So if they're like, I'm going to shock it, you're going to be like, it's an eye. And they're going to be like, okay, I'm going to response to it, flipping up, or I'm going to shock it. I'm like, great, it's still a 5/5.
Yeah. You can't respond to that.
Yeah. I guess you could still respond to the others shock still being on the stack, but you can't respond to the actual flip up.
Flip up. So yeah, that's a fun one. It's also just the first the big boss from Terraria for anyone that's played that. Like 100%. Look at it. It's a giant flying eye that's coming to get you.
I mean, I've never played Terraria, but I've played so many RPGs where it's just, oh, the boss is an eye, and I'm like, yep, get it. This definitely is high in the creepy value, though.
Yeah. All right then. Aren't there like a crap load of fears? Maybe we should save that for next
There,
episode.
I was just gonna say, I was gonna ask if any of these actually apply to anybody, because
Oh
I think
yeah,
a lot of these are actually
we should definitely do that once we have all four of us here. Then
okay. Then I'll hold off.
that'll be a fun part of the show.
Yeah, that'll be a little self-analysis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen Meat Hook Massacre 2? I saw people complaining about the fact that it existed. Didn't the original get banned in something?
It was banned in standard after being there too long.
Ah.
I haven't seen the new one yet.
Oh. Well then, guess who gets to read the new one? It's you.
I'm assuming. Okay. So the Meat Hook Massacre 2 costs what the heck? Wow. This is way more expensive than the original one. Costs 2x and 4 black mana. So I'll repeat, it's 2x and a Phyrexian Obliterator. So this better do something ridiculous. It's a legendary enchantment, it's mythic. When Meat Hook Massacre 2 enters, each player sacrifices X creatures. Okay. I think the original one was all creatures get minus X until end turn. Whenever a creature you control dies, you may pay 3 life. If you do, return that card under your control. Return that card under your control with a finality counter on it. Does that phrasing seem weird to anybody else?
No.
Okay, you may return that card to the I guess they're just not saying to the battlefield anymore. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, they may pay 3 life. If they don't, return that card under your control with a finality counter on it.
Yeah.
Okay, flavor-wise, I don't even know what's happening here, but like, okay, this is kind of nuts. So it's super expensive, but you also don't really have to pay X at all if you don't need the sweeper. Because you can just play this as an enchantment that's, hey, every time one of my guys dies, I can pay 3 to get it back. And whenever your guys dies, you have to pay 3 life or I get it.
Yeah. And what's really cool is once you get someone's creature, it's a creature you control. So if it dies, you can keep paying life to keep it out of their graveyard.
Well, it has a
Oh wait, no, the finality counter keeps that from.
Yeah.
Never mind. I forgot what finality counters do. Finality counters say that if this dies and it has a finality counter on it, it gets exiled, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, ignore that part then. Fine. But yeah, it definitely puts the onus of paying life on your opponent more than you. And like Razorback said, just like a lot of sequels, it's not as good as the original. Which in this case, I think is fine, because the original was apparently too good.
The original was too good. It was when you can pay X, and when it comes in, all creatures get minus X until end turn. So it was always a sweeper for you. And then whenever a creature dies, you gain life or each opponent loses life. It was stupid, and it was really too good for its cost. So, hence the banning.
Hence the banning.
I noticed in the same line on the visual spoilers, they have Leyline of the Void. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I type in Leyline, and the ley lines, well, I say they're back, but there is a new cycle of ley lines. And yet, for the third time, it's still Leyline of the Void. It's like I don't know if they've tried to do other black ones, but they're just like, no, this is just perfect. It doesn't need to change, because they had the original ley lines back in what was the second set of Ravnica? It was Ravnica and then something and something. But there was the original ley lines in the second set of Ravnica, and then they had new ley lines a couple sets later. but the black one was the same because they're like, duh, it's Leyline of the Void. So here we have a third set of ley lines, and it's still Leyline of the Void. And I'm both like, yes, and I'm also like, we're not trying anything else. Okay. So ley lines, how ley lines work is they generally cost 4 mana. I think they all cost 4 mana, even the Leyline of the Guild Pact. Um, and if it is in your, it's an enchantment, and if it's in your hand at the beginning of the game, if it's in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield, so it's already in effect. And then they have some sort of ability. And Leyline of the Void is if a card will be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Which shuts down so much stuff, especially in this set with Delirium, Recursion, just all sorts of stuff. And it's great, and we've also seen it 3 times now. So,
So wait, are all of these
about...
ley lines new?
All the other ones are new.
All right, so Leyline of Hope. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. Well, that's cute.
Oh, that's nice.
And as long as you have at least 7 life more than your starting life total, creatures you control get +2/+2. Huh. Yeah, all right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right. Dark, what's the blue one?
Blue one is Leyline of Transformation for 2 and 2 blue. As Leyline of Transformation enters, choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield.
So it's Leyline of Conspiracy, or
Leyline of Conspiracy.
what was the other one? The blue one? I can never remember that one.
The Xenomorphic something. I think it was from New Phyrexia. No?
I don't think that's right. Chat, what's the blue conspiracy, damn it? I know you people know. All right. So hey Brian, what's the red one?
The red one is Leyline of Resonance. Has the usual Leyline stuff. It's the red one. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So it's not as crazy as the Nephilim deck that I used to play, where it's for every target it could choose, you choose it. But it's like a little fork, and you can even see from the art it looks like a fork. So keep in mind the second ability does not have to be a creature you control. So if I say I have like a 5/5, and I really want to lightning bolt it for some reason, I'm not sure why I'd want to do it, but I could also then lightning bolt something else. That's kind of a silly example.
Yeah, because you could have just lightning bolted the first thing and not.
Yeah, I know. As I was saying it, I was like, okay. So this is interesting for red.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's in red, since it's single creature you control. I mean, red does have a lot of, the instant speed buffs.
It does.
+2/+0 and trample or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading that and going, that just doesn't feel red. Because I'm going to lightning bolt my creature so I can send a lightning bolt somewhere else.
Yeah, even as I said it, I was like, Now, there is a card in Bloomburrow that's like deal a single damage to a creature and draw a card. So I could see, all right, I'll hit my own and then either another one of my own or somebody else's, then draw 2 cards. That's great. But This is probably a Johnny one, and that there is some way to use that's just like, oh, that's amazing. I mean, need
Mm-hmm.
I say going into blue for polymorph? But that's just me, and I'm silly.
Uh, Jay Spencer said that there's a turn 2 kill with Valiant, the ability word.
The mouse ability. Whenever you target this thing for the first time in a turn, you do whatever, and this would trigger 2 Valiants, I guess, for 2 different creatures.
I guess. So apparently
I guess.
someone's worked out some manner of a turn 2 kill that is probably requires, the ley line and like 5 exact cards in your opening hand, so not terribly likely. All right then. And then the green one. Hey Derek, what's the green one do? I'm typecasting you again.
Leyline of Mutation.
Huh.
For 2 and 2 green, on the battlefield, you may pay Wooburg rather than pay the mana cost for spells that you cast.
Oh my god, it's the fist!
It's the Fist of the Suns, yeah.
Huh.
Which, I mean, it's interesting, like, getting this out for free. You're like, okay, great. Not going to use it for a while, but okay. But the trick always is, like, you take something that costs 11 or, Emrakul or whatever, and you make it cost 5. So, yeah.
Okay, here's the combo. Jay Spencer has just written it out. Turn 1, Heartless Hero and the Ley Line. I'm going to have to look all these cards up because I don't know any cards by name. All right, Heartless Hero MTG. Images. Heartless Hidetsugu. I am not getting a card called Heartless Hero when I Google it. Is that in this set? Nope. Has Google failed me?
No, Google.
There is no card called Heartless Hero. So, Heartfire Hero. There we go. Okay, so we Heartfire Hero. Hang on, I'm going to get all of this up on the screen. Target it with one of the 1-mana buff spells that gets doubled. Give me an example of that so I don't have to search for it. Then hit the opponent for 7 damage. Cast the Fling variant that hits for another 7. Heartless Hero's ability deals another 7. Callous Sellsword. Okay, hang on. Callous. Sellsword. Oh, it's an adventure. Okay. And Monstrous Rage. All right. We're just going to get all of these up on the screen here. So drag those over here. Okay, so we get the Ley Line out in our opening hand. Ley Line of Resonance. So when you cast an instant or sorcery that targets only a single creature you control, you copy it. Okay.
Gotcha.
So then the Heartfire Hero out on turn 1. So that's Heartfire Hero, Mountain, Ley Line. 3 cards. All right. Whenever Heartfire Hero becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. All right. So you hit it with the Monstrous Rage, which gives it +2/+0 until end of turn. And it gets a monster roll. So that will trigger... Okay, so it hits the Hardfire Hero. It gets +2/+0 and a +1/+1 counter. And then it gets +2/+0 again. So now it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 power. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. And then you Callous Sellsword. So now you need 2 mountains. And the Callous. So it's 5 cards in your opening hand. Which is what I said. I think. Oh, and the monster roll gives it +1/+1. That's true. So now it's a 7 power. Sorry. And then Callous Sellsword says target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to any other target, then sacrifice it. Oh, okay. So it's 7. And then you then you do this and it hits. Oh god, yeah, it targets. No, that doesn't work. Does that work? Because the ley line... No, that doesn't work. The ley line says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control. The Callous Sellsword targets 2 things. Oh, you attack for 7. Oh, okay, got it. So you attack for 7. And then you Sellsword. So it hits them for 7. And then the Heartfire Heroes dies. So that's the other 7. Okay. Got it. I missed the attack. That was my bad.
That's pretty... Yeah, that's going to be pretty integral, I think.
All right. So once this happens at a... do they even have high-level Magic tournaments anymore? I don't even know. But once this happens at a high-level Magic tournament for a turn 2 kill, because someone lucked into the exact 5 cards they need, which one gets banned? The Sellsword?
All of them.
The ley line? I don't know. That's a very silly combo, and I honestly, because it's 5 cards, I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie.
That makes it better for you?
Yeah, because it's not super easy to do. So when it happens, it'll just be like, rolling 2 20s. Razorback said you die on turn 3 to mono red all the time already on Arena. What? Ugh.
I feel like I have had pretty good success post Bloomburrow against mono red, but I have such a disdain for losing to mono red that I immediately assume I'm going to face it every round anyway, so most of my decks are like, nope. Doesn't mean I win all the time, but I've gotten so used to seeing it. Ever since they printed this stupid furnace that spits out a guy every turn, which I really don't like, I've kind of just accepted seeing red a lot. So
that's fair.
Yep, well, I think so. Glad you agree. Righty then.
Yeah.
So, how much more do you want to do tonight? Hopefully we'll have a Mike back next week.
Yeah, I mean, we can stop and hit it again next week if Mike comes back alive.
Hopefully he will.
How many fears are... Let's see. Fear of. I assume they're all called Fear of. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
It's a good amount.
13, 14. All right, yeah, that's fun. And look, one of them is even the Wizards marketing plan.
Huh. I mean.
So of course, fear of missing out is literally the only one of these that got an art card and got a showcase. Could you be more on the nose?
Sometimes the best,
That's
the best
awful.
self-owns are the ones that they just don't see coming.
They do know what they're doing. I'm 100% that one was chosen to get a showcase and an art card on purpose, not because of the art. Oh my god. All right, tell you what. Hang on, I'm gonna read this room here in white because it's been looking at me.
Okay, which one's that?
I gotta turn my head. It's on the first row. It's Dazzling Theater and Prop Room. Dazzling. Can I just reiterate how much I hate cards like this in the card image gallery being like right side up for the card, but you can't freaking read them without breaking your own neck? So Dazzling Theater costs 3 and a white. It says creature spells you cast have convoke. Oh. This is from the set proper. Okay. That's something. And then Prop Room for 2 and a white, so 1 less, says untap each creature you control during each other player's untap step. Oh my god. Well, those two play well together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really have anything to say, just... Yeah.
And 2 people in the chat said that Convoke lets you get survival triggers without attacks. And yes, it does. Oops. All right. Did you see the green one that has the Crucible of Worlds effect on the left side? No. Red. Hang on. All right. Looking for green rooms. We're looking for the green room. There it is. Greenhouse.
Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo.
Isn't that a bean?
What's the card?
Greenhouse and Rickety Gazebo. In green.
Okay. Let's see if I can read off your screen. So Greenhouse for 2 and a green. Lands you control have tap at 1 mana of any color. Seen that before. Rickety Gazebo for 3 and a green. When you unlock this door, mill 4 cards, then return up to 2 permanent cards from among them to your hand.
Wait, that's not Crucible of Worlds. That's the one that gives all your lands tap for any color.
Prismatic Omen.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So this isn't even the card he was talking about. And then the gazebo is yeah, that's
Just
pretty.
the thing we were talking about earlier.
The gazebo is pretty standard for a green card in a graveyard set.
I see another green room. It's another uncommon. Neither side seems to match what they're talking about, so I'm still going down.
He said it's walk-in closet, so it's at the bottom.
Okay.
Oh yeah, here we go. Walk-in closet, 2 and a green. You may play lands from your graveyard. What did Crucible cost?
3.
Okay. And then the other side is Forgotten Cellar. Well, that's terrifying, just from the name. Forgotten Cellar for 3 black. When you unlock this door, you may cast spell. This is really hard to read. You may cast spells from your graveyard this turn. And if a card would be put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, exile it instead. Yeah, all right.
So it's a Yawgmoth's Will. For a turn, which is exactly what Yawgmoth's Will does.
Huh. That's a...
So you play the walk-in closet, you mill yourself somehow and get, land after land after land back onto the battlefield. Walk-in closet still, just like Crucible Worlds, doesn't let you play more than one land a turn, but there are ways to do that. And then when you're ready and you have a whole boatload of mana, you pay 5 to unlock the cellar, and then you use the rest of your mana to do everything in your graveyard, or the most impactful things.
Yeah.
So these feel much more like the setup for one big turn than the just gradual pace of some of the others. I mean, you can still keep going with the walk-in closet, but this is definitely heavily suggesting breaking the cellar.
Yeah. Jay Spencer says just use Terramorphic Expanse every turn with the left side. Yeah.
That's true.
Because that's in the set. Huh?
Yep. Bloomborough gave us the Fabled Passage, I think, which is Terramorphic Expanse, except if you control 4 or more lands, it then untaps the land that you get.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. Yeah. So those two work very well. Okay, all right.
What?
I'm probably good to stop here, but I just was reading this card, and I'm like, what does that? And then I realized. So in green, just a little bit above what we just did, is a card called Twitching Doll, and I want Chewie to read it because I think you only get the impact.
Yeah, this is one of the ones that someone was like, "Hey Chewie, don't read this card," and I was like, "Ah!" So Twitching Doll, for 1 and a green, is a 2/2 artifact creature, spider toy. It taps to add 1 mana of any color, and you put a nest counter on Twitching Doll. Oh, look, it's a kitty. And it's got a little kitty mouth. Aww. It's cute. So it taps for mana and gets counters. I wonder what you use those counters for. Probably nothing much. So you can tap and sacrifice Twitching Doll to create a... I'm sorry, I went to my happy place. What were we talking about?
Sunshine and lollipops.
Oh, I love her
Rainbows.
lollipop. Sunshine, I can take her leave, honestly, but... Oh yeah, I was reading this card. All right, sacrifice Twitching Doll to create a 2/2 green... I'm sorry, I seem to have had some sort of reaction. Sacrifice Twitching Doll to create a 2/2 green spider creature token with reach, because of course, for each counter on Twitching Doll. Activate only as a sorcery. And yeah.
When you really think about it, that you're like... I don't even mind spiders, and I'm just like, yeah, this is gross.
Oh, I was looking at the Buy a Box promo. I haven't even looked at the regular art. Oh, that's less horrifying somehow. Huh.
I mean, still, like, you look at the face, and you're like, why is it a cat face? And then you look and see where the porcelain should be, and you realize the face is made out of bugs.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a doll that's covered in... It's a doll that's covered in spiders. What?
They're like nesting inside of it.
Oh, it does say each counter. It doesn't say each nest counter. Huh.
Oh.
That is a neat touch.
So you get other counters on there, +1/+1 counters, what have you. Okay, I think I'm good to stop here. We'll have lots to talk about with Mike next time.
Definitely
like,
good to stop looking at
he's
that
afraid of.
godforsaken card.
Yeah. Feels like the right time to stop.
Yeah. Oh, hey guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Boilerbilges.
All right.
And on that note, I think we should probably round out the night.
Mistmoors? Boilerbilges. What was the black one?
Something weird.
Bale Merc. I remembered Merc. I couldn't remember Bale. Also, that thing has multiple faces and like an eye, but I don't like it.
At least it's not the overlord of Baal Merca.
I don't get it.
Merca.
Oh, Bale Murica.
Yep. And that's all I got.
All right then. So how about you know what? Do you know what?
What? No, I don't know him.
I'm gonna do the Patreon thing first, cause that's what I'm gonna do. So you could go to patreon.com/themanapool and you can totally support us there if you like. It gets you early access to stuff and the behind the scenes files, the odds and ends, and the sponsorship shout out. Like, hey, let's thank. Wait a minute. Whoop. Let's thank Al and Kim Ho and Scuzzo and Jake Jansons and Michael. Who's that? And Team Uhellas Haryu and Jason Kaus and Jason Doan. Even though they're named Jason, I trust those two. And Casey and ALK Alters and Andrew Odie. Yay. And don't forget, if you buy PC games, you should buy, and you buy them on Humble, then you should use my referral code. And also, check out Twitch. I stream there all the time. We stream the show live on Twitch on Thursday nights. And check out, go to the YouTube channel and the Deep End, because I'm still working on stuff for that. And the all of the Twitter variants, Twitter and BlueSky and Threads. Yeah, if you're on any of those, look me up. It's the Manapool, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's enough. Oh, and join the Discord. You should totally join the Discord. And with that, I'll kick it over to these guys for some final thoughts.
So, for my final thought, I've never been a huge horror fan. I know we've talked about this from time to time, either just if it was the subject that was up on the show, or we were talking about, creature corners with vampires and werewolves, or when we were visiting some of the Innistrad sets. I've not been like a huge horror fan, but it's really interesting to see how many of the tropes in this set I recognize. I've also never really understood the thing with dolls. I guess when I was a kid, even knowing what Chucky was, I kind of just always pictured like kicking him like a football. I was always more scared of Freddy Krueger, the thought that he could attack you in your nightmares, or Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers, who are super similar, that they just can't be stopped. And I realize Chucky can't be stopped either, but he's so little. So I don't really have the thing with dolls or clowns that some people do. And at this point, it's more of just like, I feel like horror has been inundated with puppets and whatnot that I'm almost like, oh look, it's another doll. But I mean, otherwise, I'm good, and I do enjoy some of the almost like ghost hunter vibe to some of these characters we see here in the set, like some of the humans, the gear, stuff like that. I don't know how much it feels like classic magic, but I give them some leeway because it's never been 100% classic fantasy. Mike pointed out to me as I was getting started in Magic, Lana Werewolf is covered with weird tattoos. It's not like stuff that's just immediately taken out of Tolkien. It's always kind of been given its own spin. So I think I'm a little more understanding that, hey, they're going in a different direction, but I definitely understand people's concern of like this looks so different, and especially in the heels of, I think 2 years ago when we had Neon Kamigawa, that it starts to feel very urban, very modern, and it's a little like sure. So I'm just kind of waiting to see where we go from here. But so far, set looks interesting. Depending on my
Monkeys.
schedule
Oh.
this weekend, I may try to make it to a pre-release, but that's very much up in the air. That's what I got.
Oh, word.
My final thought. Um, Nothing major happening here. The one thing I was telling the guys is I was very saddened to hear about James Earl Jones. That really bummed me out.
Yeah. Like, James Earl Jones was the voice of everybody's father. Like, he was Luke Skywalker's father. He was Simba's father. Spoilers, I guess. He was the king of Zamunda. So he was, Eddie. I can't remember for some reason now. The Prince of Zamunda's name has completely fallen out of my brain. I remember his name. It was Joffrey Joffre, and he's not the main character. Why can't I remember Akeem? There we go. It was killing me.
Coming to America, or is it Coming to America, or
Yeah. Which is one of the best movies ever. Full stop. And you know that Legacy sequel that's on Prime? It's not great, but it's pretty good. I highly recommend watching them back to back.
Yeah. Like I said, that bummed me out in terms of the week and everything.
Yeah.
That's about all I got though.
Well, that's fair then. How about you, Brian?
I already did my final thought.
Oh yeah? Well then who's
This
left?
was much more in depth, much more involved than mine.
Hey Mike, what about oh no Mike's not. Oh me, that's who's missing. I knew I'd only counted two. So what have I got going on? I did one session streaming the game Sifu on Twitch, and it's very hard. And it's a type of game where I'm gonna have to practice at it, and I can't really do that kind of practice on stream. So I'm gonna have to play it off stream so I can get better at it so I can stream it. Does that make sense? It doesn't make sense to me because that's usually I do all of my learning on camera.
Also, when he does all his swearing.
No, I swear all the time except for on this show. Hell and damn. I've been watching House and Taskmaster, thanks to Mike. Those are both good. Taskmaster's on YouTube, so everybody can watch it. I highly recommend it if you like British sense of humor. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, Renee's working on moving in eventually. She started bringing crap over.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, and I finished Final Fantasy V. Yes. I did not get all the achievements, so I'm going to have to play it again. But I did beat both of the super bosses through legit means of dying and going, crap, and then rejiggering my team, and then going in again, and then dying and going, oh, okay, wait, so if and changing my team around, jobs and equipment and whatnot. And yeah, I was able to beat both super bosses, and all of my team members had all of the jobs maxed out. Like, they had mastered all the jobs because I cranked up my job point skill to 4x. Not as early as I would have liked, but a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's some dedication right there. I didn't get that far.
Well, at 4x, it's not really that much dedication. But by the time I like walked up to the next room, and I was like, that looks like a final boss room. I'm gonna go back, because everybody was only like, I don't know, 4 or 5 total battles away from having all of the jobs fully leveled. I'm like, we're just gonna back this up. And so the final boss, for the first time in my run through of Final Fantasy games, was a joke. Had 0 problems with the final boss. I died to Shinryu, the second super boss, so many times, and the final boss I didn't one shot, because that means something else. But I first timed it. I was like, oh. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you beat Shinryu, that would probably do it.
Yeah.
I beat the final boss and on the Pixel remaster of 5. And it wasn't a joke, but I felt relatively comfortable. The first time I ever played Final Fantasy V on the PS1 port, I was underleveled. I had not done enough with the jobs. I didn't really switch into freelancer for the final battle to get all the stat bonuses and whatnot. And I beat a form and went to the next form, and it's like, hey, have all these crazy status effects. I'm like, what? And it's like, everybody's petrified, silenced, stoned, which is also petrified, and I lost horribly. And when I grinded for a while and replayed it, I beat it, but I lost some party members along the way, which actually affects the story. So
yeah, I kept everyone alive, twist. And while the credits, like after the end cutscene had played, someone in the chat was like, yeah, so if anybody's dead, then their endings are ambiguous. I was like, it actually affects the ending? What?
Yeah.
Because that had not been done before.
No, it's a really interesting twist.
And I don't know if it's been done since, honestly.
Usually when you fight the final battle, it's like, okay, do you have enough characters to make it through? But it doesn't really impact the story. But here it does.
So yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I'm gonna hold off on Final Fantasy VI for a bit, so as to not burn myself out on the 2D menu-based Final Fantasies right before I get to my favorite one. Like, I'd hate to get halfway through the World of Balance and be like, so I'm gonna play some other stuff. I'm gonna get good at seafood. Gonna stream On Guard, maybe Tunic, maybe some Castlevanias, because the Castlevania Dominus collection just came out on PC, which is it's the DS games, you guys.
I heard.
And it's a remake of the original arcade game.
Haunted Castle or something?
Yeah, there you go. My brain was running and it wouldn't land on.
I saw the announcement, so.
Yeah. But anyway, so we'll stop there. So this has been episode, 706 of the Manapool. And I'm not going to say next week, because you know how we are these days. But next time, hopefully we'll have all 4 of us, and we'll talk about fear. Yeah.
The mind killer.
I hear that fear is the mind killer. Somebody, I forget who, did a really sick techno beat that sampled that. Or no, I don't think it sampled it. It just said, fear is the mind killer. But I can't remember who that is. It was really good, though. Fear is the mind killer song. Fear Factory? No, not that one. That's an EP. Oh my God. Never mind. I give up. So, hell yeah, Fear Factory. Haven't thought about them in years. Okay, so this has been episode 706 of the Manapool. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and Boilerbilges. Huh?